Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Fortnite Ballistic video here on the channel. As you guys can tell from the title, today's video is a complete guide for Fortnite Ballistic. Now, this guide is going to cover a multitude of concepts, a lot of which we've already covered at a very surface level in my tips and tricks video that is already up on the channel. Now, if you guys have not already given this video a watch, I would really recommend going and taking a look because it gives a very good broad overview of a lot of the concepts that we are going to cover in today's video. However, in today's video, we're going to cover them in a lot more depth. Now, the four main topics that I'm going to cover in today's video is number one, playstyle. Now, there are multiple gadgets available in the game, but which one is good for your specific playstyle? Do you normally like to play a little bit slower and be more of a supportive teammate? Or do you like rushing and being more of an aggressive player? We're going to dive into that in a lot deeper. Number two is game sense. How do you specifically utilize the different mechanics in the game, sound cues, as well as the minimap to make sure that you are being the best supportive teammate as possible so that you and your team can ultimately win the game? Number three, mentality. I've gotten a lot of different comments asking about how you maintain a calm demeanor when under pressure. We're going to dive into that at length because this really does play into not only this game, but every other competitive shooter that is currently out on the market today. One of the hallmarks of being a good player is being able to handle pressure well and being able to channel that pressure into a successful outcome. And number four, I'm going to go over the controls and settings that you guys are going to need to run, especially if you guys are on PC, in order for you to have the maximum advantage in the game. As always, if you guys do enjoy the full guide video today, I really would appreciate it if you do smash that thumbs up and subscribe. It really would help me out. Also, let me know in the comment section down below if you guys have any questions on anything that we covered or maybe even didn't cover. I'd be happy to answer any of those questions below. And with that, let's get right into it. All right, guys, so the first topic of today's video is playstyle. Now, as I mentioned here in the intro, there are multiple gadgets that you guys can choose from here at the beginning of the game. Obviously, once everybody loads in, we're going to have the ability to choose our gadget. Now, playstyle really comes down to how you want to play as a player that's going to best benefit your team and also complement your own skills and abilities. Now, what do I mean by that? If you are a very aggressive player, I would suggest that it would not only do you yourself a good service, but also your team by running the impulse grenades, because your aggressive playstyle is going to be able to benefit not only you, but also your team by getting a lot of kills, opening up pockets of space within the map so your team can rotate, so on and so forth. But if you are not as aggressive as the impulse player on your team, maybe you want to run something such as grenades. Could open up space, or maybe even landmines where you can put them down in various parts of the map, and you're going to be able to weaken the enemy team and ultimately get a kill for your team at the end of the day. Now, as I said here, we have multiple gadgets here. We have the impulse, we have the nades, we have the bubbles, the mines, and the scanner. Now, we're going to break each and every single one of these down for you guys. As I said, a lot of these complement the different playstyles that I was just talking about. Now, I normally like to run the impulse grenade because I'm a very aggressive player. You guys have seen majority of my videos. If you guys run the impulse nade, you guys know that you guys can pull off plays like this. Now, as you guys can see here, I'm utilizing the impulse grenade to jump over that wall on A site and ultimately get 1, 2, and 3 kills to win the round. Now, you guys know I love this impulse spot. If you guys join the streams, see here I'm hitting it again, and I'm able to get an easy entryway into corridor, reach out, kill someone there, and then ultimately get a good pick here on over by shops, and then move in for the ultimate 1v1. Now, as I mentioned earlier, impulse grenades are not only beneficial for getting on site quickly and rotating, but it's also really beneficial to taking out the enemy very quickly. You guys can also see that in this clip right here, I actually utilized the impulse grenades in a one-on-one scenario here to get the jump on my opponent. See, he's not expecting it. His aim's going to be thrown off. And again, the second guy there, turn really quick, able to get him very aggressively, very effectively as well. I also did want to mention that impulse grenades are super beneficial when utilizing shotguns within Fortnite Ballistic. Again, if you're using shotguns, you have to be running impulse nades to get close and hit clips like that. Now, other gadgets in this game, such as the scanner, can not only be played and used by maybe a less aggressive player to just show some scans around an area or maybe over a wall or within a window or wherever you guys want to throw it, but it also can be used for more of an aggressive play style to open up opportunities for your teammates. Now, as I mentioned, the scanner can be used in a very practical and aggressive way. Here, my teammate throws the scanner out by the main door of A, and I'm able to come out sliding and pre-firing basically where all 3 of these enemies are going to be, ultimately giving us a free 3 kills. Scanners are super beneficial for taking out those kills and giving that crucial information to your team. So not only the scanner can be used as a more of a passive playstyle, but it can also be used as an aggressive playstyle, and same thing with the bubble as well. You guys can use the bubble for a more aggressive playstyle, and in this specific clip, I end up using the bubble, but not in your traditional passive supportive role. I use it in a very aggressive way here. As you can see, teammate pushes down from top wheel or top drywall, and I'm able to shimmy in and out of the bubble, utilizing this gadget to its maximum potential to secure that kill and ultimately secure the win for my team. If you're not as aggressive, the grenade and the landmines are a great option for you if you want to slowly move your way in and be more of a support player for your team. Now, with the grenades, you're going to be able to basically clear out different sections of the map, such as close AC on B site or different other areas of the map where you need to clear out a pocket if somebody's sitting in a corner. This is going to allow your team to push in and ultimately take over crucial parts of the site that are ultimately going to allow you to win the round. Same thing with landmines. If you are a more passive player, want to sit back and be more of a support player, you definitely want to run landmines and place them in more strategic areas, maybe to cover the flank area, maybe to cover a side hallway or stairwell. All of these things are super beneficial to your team. Like I said, each and every single one of these gadgets is super beneficial to not only providing intel to your team, such as if a person runs past a landmine and it goes off, you not only have that sound cue, but you have the damage points if you're playing the landmines to communicate with your team that, hey, my landmines have been triggered. We need to go and watch this area of the map right now. And also, if you're running nades, you're going to be able to get hit markers. You're going to be able to clear out corners. It's going to be super beneficial taking down the enemy's health. Now, this is really crucial because if it does come down to a 1v2 scenario, one of your teammates versus two opponents, you doing damage to the two opponents throughout the course of the round with your landmines and grenades is crucial to that teammate actually clutching up and winning the round. So do not think that if you don't run impulses and be more of an aggressive player, you cannot benefit your team. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I would recommend if you are just new to Ballistic and you're not maybe super comfortable with first-person shooters, or maybe you're not even used to a 5v5 competitive shooter, I would really recommend starting with either grenades or landmines and then building up from there. At that point, you can branch out into different gadgets such as bubbles to help your team get a plant down on A site or B site, to then using impulse grenades where you can then launch over the wall and go for 1 or 2 picks. That will be crucial for your team in order to win the round. Again, it comes down to what you are most comfortable with and what you can best provide to your team. All right, so in this portion of the video, we are focusing on game sense. Now, I thought there's no other better demonstration of showcasing game sense and exactly how you should be playing and rotating and making smart calls within a round than this clip right here. We are going to walk through a 1v5 clutch that I make here in a public match. Obviously, I'm just playing pubs and I'm having random teammates, all of my teammates left, or in this case, the one other teammate I have just ends up dying and I end up clutching it. So let's turn the volume up and let's take a look, and then I'll break it down further. So there, my teammate dies right away. Able to get a nice pick off of one of the enemies coming over the window there. Nice pick over there from drywall. Utilizing my sound cues. And also a lot of these visuals here. Picking up a stun to use it so that I can rotate out of top wheel. Able to get the planter right there. Now it's a 1v1 scenario. 1v1, bomb is down. Now I either have to defuse to win this, or I have to get the kill in time for me to defuse. If I just defuse, I know he's going to push me, and I'm probably going to die. End up faking the defuse. Able to get the kill. With enough time to defuse and win the round. Honestly, it's a textbook 1v5, and now let's break it down a little bit further here. All right, so in this case right here, I notice that my teammate is positioned over here in the far side over by close AC. He's probably going to get picked really fast, so I'm choosing a more conservative position here on the site, back behind the far AC half wall here. This gives me a lot of leverage because the only part of my body that is exposed is my head. So if the opponents want to kill me in this scenario, they have to hit a headshot. Basically, spot on headshot, which is going to be a lot more difficult than me standing, say, on the other side of this wall to the right. If I'm just standing there, it's going to be an easy pick. All right, so let's continue here. And now, in this case, my teammate ends up dying, gets picked early, as I expected. And now I'm thinking, okay, they're all going to rush onto the site here. I need to at least get one pick here before either repositioning or finding another area of leverage. And that's exactly what I end up doing. So one ends up jumping over the window. I'm able to get easy beams on him, kill him before he goes into boxes here, which is actually huge because if he would have lived and I missed my shots, he would have been a major problem when rotating later in this round. So let's continue to watch this here. So now I'm taking a little bit of cover just to reload and make sure I have enough bullets because I know that the teammate is most likely going to call out my location to the rest of the team, so they know exactly where I'm at. And so now I'm going to get pushed very aggressively. At least that's what's going through my mind right here. So now I'm watching the top wheel or top drywall section of the map, because I'm thinking to myself, maybe they didn't all come from the B side or B street side. Maybe some rushed up through mid-cut and maybe even through sushi. So by holding this angle, I'm able to hold off or pick off any other opponents that are coming through top drywall or even coming in through sushi. I still have a little tiny bit of cover, just enough for me to potentially get a pick here. And again, I'm checking my surroundings, and then I look back. I'm able to get that kill into storage, and now immediately I am rotating. The reason I'm rotating is because I realized that there was a smoke right in front of me before I got that kill. So now I have a free rotate here behind pipes to where I can then utilize my sound cues. In this case, I end up using a gadget, which is my impulse grenade. Now, midair here, I spot the enemy top wheel or top drywall. Now, this is crucial. Every single second of this clip, I'm psychoanalyzing my entire surroundings, sound cues, everything. As you can see here, I land wheel stairs, and I immediately peek up. And since I didn't see him, I knew for a fact that he had jumped out. So I flick to the bottom of the stairs. I'm able to get that kill. Now I end up backing off a little bit because I know that the other team, the other members of the team are going to be pushing up very frantically to try to finish off this kill. So I take a little breather. I utilize sound cues to make sure that none of the opponents are rushing me, or else I would have heard them. And that way I'm able to reload. I have a fresh 30-round mag in my gun. I then take top wheel or top drywall here, and I'm scanning, right? I'm getting cues that they're planting. As you can hear here, I don't know if you can hear it, the clip's pretty low. But I get a sound cue that they're planning, and I don't know where the other one is, but I'm taking into account exactly what I'm seeing, and then I'm taking guesses here. So then I'm able to see that he's over here by this piece of drywall on the right side, and I'm taking a couple shots here. I see that there was a smoke down on generator, which means that they're planting right next to generator. I then try to kind of reposition down here underneath the top drywall, grab that flash that, and push out. Now, this is super important here. The reason that I flashed that and pushed out, the reason I did that is so if the planner does get the bomb off and he rotates, he's flashed, which gives me enough time to basically rotate down towards bottom boxes. Ultimately, that's kind of what happened, but the planner just ended up planting a lot later than I expected, so I was able to get a free rotate down into boxes. He then rotated across, and I was able to get that pick nice and easy. Now it's a 1v1 scenario, chat, and I'm looking at my surroundings. I know that they have the bomb down, and I realize that now the pressure is on me as the defender. In this scenario, I basically have to kill the last guy, or else I'm pretty much dead, because by defusing here, if I don't kill him, he's going to rush me and kill me, and then I lose the round. And so what I'm doing here is I'm utilizing game mechanics to bait out this last opponent. So when I start defusing, if you guys didn't know, when you start defusing a bomb in Fortnite Ballistic, it sends a notification to the enemy team that you're actually defusing. Now, when you stop defusing, it doesn't give the notification. However, there's still a little bit of doubt in the enemy's mind that I could still be defusing. So I did that just long enough, halfway defuse, to where he would then bait out, and I knew the common direction that he'd be coming from, top drywall. I then quick peek it. He's jumping out, rushing to try to kill me because he thinks I'm defusing, and I'm able to get an easy kill, and with just enough time to finish the defuse and ultimately win the round. All of the things that in this clip is just common game sense that's going to take a lot of time to master, and it's going to take a lot of playtime. If you don't have a lot of experience in high intensity and highly competitive first-person shooters, a lot of what I just ran through is going to take a lot of time to learn and master as you play. Again, it's just going to take a lot of reps. As you continue to play more, you're going to grow that intuition, grow that game sense, and you're going to be able to make plays. I want you guys to take what I just walked through in this clip and apply it to your own gameplay. And I promise you guys, if you do psychoanalyze and you take into account sound cues, visual cues, and utilize the game's mechanics to your advantage, you guys will be winning a lot more rounds. Again, a lot of what I just showed you in this video is something super important to think about. I hope you guys apply it to your own gameplay and your own play style. All right, guys, going into the third part of the video today, we are going to be discussing mentality. Now, I've got a lot of comments on how do you maintain a good, calm demeanor when having high pressure situations being thrown at you within the game. Now, to start off this part of the video, I am going to psychoanalyze a clip that I got from stream the other night. I'm going to break it down, but first, let's watch this right here. This is a 1v3 clip, and I got to be honest, man, it's pretty crazy. So let's play it, and then I'll break it down. So it's a 1v3 scenario. 1v3. Able to get one there. I'm just better. I'm just so much better at this game. All right, so there we go. So that's the clip right there. And basically, just for a little context here, as I explained earlier, is a 1v3 scenario. All the pressure is on me. We are currently down 3 rounds. It is 3-6. If the enemy team wins this round, they win the game. This is a perfect scenario where you have all the pressure in the world to perform for you and your team. And if you don't end up performing, it ends up in a loss for you and your team. So with all of that pressure here, it's a 1v3. I know that all the enemies know that I'm here. They know my location. I'm going to be pushed very hard by this enemy team because they know my location. So immediately I end up taking a very common angle here, looking out towards B Street to see if I can potentially get a pick. If I can, it makes it a 1v2, which makes it that much easier. Now, I utilize sound cues here to hear when they're coming up to B Street. It might be hard to hear. I think you might be able to barely hear it, but right before I shoot, I hear a sound cue that's telling me that they're pushing up right where that is, and I'm using my game sense and intuition to basically predict when I should pre-fire, and I end up pre-firing at the precise and perfect moment for me to get enough damage done to one enemy and also get a kill on one enemy as well. Now, immediately I take cover behind this drywall because I know from here there's 2 places where they can push. They can either push out and around here in front of me, or they can push out the side window down below. Now, I'm going to hear the jump and the landing from window, so I immediately know that they're not pushing that. And now I push out, and I'm able to get that kill. That guy rushes me. Now it's a 1v1. What you want to do is you want to break it down into 1v1 situations every single time. If you try to 1v3 the entire team, you are going to lose. This goes into a lot of the game sense portion of the video that we just talked about here, but in terms of the mentality, I had to have an iron mind mentality when executing this play, knowing that all the pressure's on me, knowing that I had to hit my shots, and knowing that I ultimately had to win this round in order for me and my team to continue to try to fight to win the rest of the game. Now, this mentality right here is what got me the win here. Now, the mentality that I'm referencing is none other than absolute confidence in my own ability and depending upon my gut instincts and intuition. Now, what I mean by that is when you're in a situation like that, you can never doubt yourself. You cannot think, oh, am I not going to hit my shots? Am I not going to be able to get away? You need to have absolute confidence in your own ability and your own game sense to say, hey, I'm going to be able to hit my shots, and I'm going to be able to have the game sense to outplay these 3. And going into that, maybe you win, maybe you even lose. But that mentality is what's going to take you way farther, not even in just this game and in this scenario, but in so many other 5v5 tactical first-person shooters. You have to have absolute confidence in yourself, and you have to have confidence in your teammates and in your own personal abilities. This is what gave me the ability to bring it down to a 1v1, and ultimately in the 1v1, I just ego chow, have that mentality, push back out, take those first shots, close it out. Taking accountability, taking initiative, going forward, and making sure that you not only deal with that pressure, but you translate that pressure into something that you know is going to make you better. So in the moment, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, what if I miss? What if I don't hit my shots? What if I don't do this? You need to say to yourself, I'm going to hit my shots. I'm going to be able to make these plays. I'm going to be able to 1v3. And then also leaving it up to your gut instinct and your intuition. Now, when you play a game long enough and you put in enough hours, your subconscious mind is going to know what to do in these scenarios because you've been placed in these scenarios before. This is something that's super important. You need to continuously expose yourself to 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, 1v4 scenarios to where you are so comfortable that you have a certain intuition about what to do, and your subconscious mind is just going to take over, and you just got to allow your instincts to get you out of these scenarios. Now, in this particular case, man, I come from Call of Duty where I solo quad every game, where I basically go up against a 1v4, teams of 4 throughout the entire game. So I have a lot of intuition about what it takes to break down the team into 1v1 gunfights. I try to get an early pick, now it's a 1v2. Now let's break up that 1v2 into 2 1v1s. Now, when it comes down to 1v1s, I have that confidence and that mentality to go in and say, I'm going to hit my shots, and I'm gonna come out the victor. So again, you need to be exposed to these situations because right here, my subconscious mind is thinking, okay, I'm going to take cover, then I'm going to jump over, I'm going to see where it's at. Now I know a guy from my right, the second guy is going to be coming down, so I need to drop low, challenge this guy here to get the 1v1. And then once I get the 1v1, I immediately flick and reanalyze to make sure that I'm capitalizing on that last and final 1v1 here in the game. Again, all subconscious. Once you do this enough, it's going to become second nature to you and even your team. If you guys are just completely having exposure to being on your own and having these aggressive plays, that's why you got to play, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort, and have the mentality of not being stressed and being able to capitalize on your gut instinct. You have to do what your mind is telling you to do, and you can't overthink things. That's the biggest thing. You cannot overthink. If you overthink, you're gonna end up losing the round, and you're gonna end up losing gunfights. You have to go in super confidently, and like I said, man, it's ultimately gonna lead to a 1v1 scenario where you're gonna be able to triumph over the opponent, and you're going to ultimately win the game. Mentality is super important. I'm a firm believer that it's like 60 to 70% mentality. A lot of these 5v5 highly competitive first-person shooters. Again, I hope that insight does provide some really good advice to a lot of you guys out there. I know you guys asked me in the comments before, like, how do I, perform under pressure? How do I get, stay calm in high pressure, high intensity scenarios? And what I just said applies to all of those things. You have to have confidence in yourself, you have to rely on your gut instincts, and you have to have a lot of experience and exposure to other 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, 1v4 scenarios, so that way your subconscious mind can take over, and then you can rely on your own confidence and your own performance and your own skill coupled with your intuition to then succeed and win the round. All right, guys, now this leads me into the final portion of today's video, which is the controls and the settings aspect. Now, this is a lot more important than a lot of people think because settings and your equipment and your gear really do play a big role into how you perform and ultimately how you go up against in other opponents in 1v1 gunfights. So here in the graphic settings, man, as I mentioned here, it really does come down to your gear. If you don't have a high-end PC to run this game at a high FPS level, I would really recommend just putting everything, honestly, on performance mode. This is exactly what I do. I have a really good PC. I play on a 4090, and so all of my graphics are set to the lowest possible so I can maximize frame rate. This is the smartest thing that you can do as a competitive player. If you take it very seriously and you want to win a lot of your gunfights and you want to have just any advantage whatsoever, you got to set your graphics to the lowest possible. I set my frame rate limit to a 360 cap. Again, that's just some advice from other people, other optimizers online that say you want to definitely cap it. You also want the rendering mode to be on performance. Brightness and other settings here in terms of colorblind mode, that's all personal preference. But the graphics 3D resolution, I keep mine at 100. And again here, view distance, I keep this to medium. You can do far, but again, any setting here, if you could put it to low or medium, it's gonna greatly benefit your FPS and ultimately make your game run a lot smoother. And for my sensitivity, I get a lot of questions about this, man. I've gotten a lot of questions about my sensitivity. I currently play on 1600 DPI. And for in-game sense, I play on 3.5, 3.5. Now, the reason I do this, this is actually a tip given to me by another fellow streamer, a friend of mine, who said that if you ramp up your DPI on your mouse, but you lower your in-game sense, it's going to make your mouse sensitivity so much smoother, and it's absolutely correct. You're going to still be able to maintain a lot of control over your mouse and hit those shots, but it's just going to make it overall a lot smoother and a lot easier to maneuver your mouse. So I greatly recommend going with that option, but again, sensitivity really just comes down to personal preference. If you are a low sensitivity across the board, maybe you're rocking 850 DPI, 3.5 game sense, you may want to raise this up. Really just depends. I would just try at a low sense and then ramp it up until you feel comfortable at a certain sensitivity, and then just run with it. And then my targeting sensitivity, 70%, scope sensitivity, 80%. I really haven't messed with these too much. I just have kept them here for a while, and it's just worked, and I feel comfortable. Again, it's just all personal, preference. Now, in terms of the reticle and damage feedback, now there's some settings in here that a lot of people would recommend you switch up. Now, one of these settings is the show spread first person. Now, as you can see from the description, toggle whether the reticle will expand to show your weapon spread, the range of directions in which shots might go in first-person game modes. I know my face cam kind of cuts off a little bit of that description here, but basically what this is saying is that when you're playing Ballistic and you move, it spreads your crosshairs around, showing that you're going to have a lot of bloom, and then when you're not moving, your crosshair basically comes together, showing that you have increased accuracy. If you turn this off and you're moving, your reticle will not move. It still will appear as though you are having great accuracy when you are not. A lot of people say to turn this off because it allows you to hit your shots better. I actually disagree with that opinion. I like knowing when I have great accuracy and when I don't. This allows me to quick peek angles and not question whether or not I'm gonna be able to have 100% accuracy peeking a corner. So in my opinion, I think this is crucial to leave this on because, again, it just gives you that much more insight into your aiming patterns and your shooting patterns. You're able to know exactly how much bloom you're estimated to get when you peek something or when you chow something. So, and here for the keybinds, man, I mean, again, a lot of this is really good personal preference. The one thing I will say that personally I think is a smart move to make is for crouching and sliding, especially if you play on keyboard and mouse. I would recommend switching your crouch to control. I don't know if this is the default bind for crouch and prone within the game or if it's the letter C. If it's the letter C, if you think about it on the keyboard, if you are trying to move right and crouch at the same time, or maybe slide to the right, your index finger is not going to be available to hit the D key, which is going to move you to the right, while also hitting the C key. So there's going to be a slight delay between you moving to the right and then you crouching. So the reason I have it as control is I have access to my WASD keys in every direction while sliding. So this allows me to have, ultimately, like, no restrictions on movement because I'm able to move in any direction extremely fast while also utilizing slide and crouch. So I'd recommend, rebinding that to control. That's also super important, I feel like. But again, it's whatever you're comfortable with. You could bind this to, a side mouse button. It really doesn't matter. It really comes down to personal preference. So that's it for the video today, guys. I really do appreciate all the love and support lately. If you guys did learn something, again, man, make sure to smash that thumbs up and subscribe, and make sure to go and follow me over on Twitch. I've been streaming here on YouTube and over on Twitch here, playing Fortnite Ballistics, so make sure to follow and subscribe and turn post notifications on. I really do appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.